There were a couple of things that weren't included in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire that disappointed a lot of fans, including myself. Specifically, the lack of a proper battle frontier and the lack of a few Mega Evolutions that we all wanted to see, such as Mega Milotic and Mega Flygon. However, something a lot of people have been discussing since Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have been released is the possibility of downloadable content. Downloadable content is a touchy subject when it comes to gaming. Some people see the value in purchasing it, whereas other people think that the content should have been added to the games when they were released. I myself, along with quite a lot of other people I see on the internet, would love to see the Battle Frontier and other Mega Evolutions added in the form of DLC, and today I'll be discussing whether or not I think Nintendo and Game Freak are going to be willing to actually release DLC for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and what I think it would contain. In the comments below, I'm interested in your thoughts. Do you want DLC to be released for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? And if so, what would you like to see included? Or would you prefer it if they just left the games alone at this point and didn't release any DLC at the expense of their customers? 600 likes would be really appreciated, and I'll upload a video on my thoughts on the possibility of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes within the next couple of days. And what is up, guys? My name is P1all. Let's jump into this little open discussion. So, full disclosure, I honestly do really want DLC for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Nintendo have been rolling out a lot more downloadable content for their games recently. Look at Super Smash Bros. Look at Hyrule Warriors. Look at Mario Kart 8. All these games have received DLC, and reviews across the board have just said how fantastic DLC packages they are. Nintendo seem to have their act together when it comes to providing actual worthwhile DLC packages that are worth the money that you're throwing at them. Compared to shadier companies, look at what EA did with Dead Space 3. I think if Game Freak and Nintendo were to provide DLC for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it would actually be worth the money and would be very cost efficient. I think we'd only pay a small amount of cash for the Battle Frontier and for new Mega Evolutions. There was a bit of an uproar when Pokemon Bank was announced, and it was announced that it would cost $5 a year to actually be able to access it. A lot of people didn't like how you had to pay for that, but in my personal opinion, it's well worth the money, even if the service itself is a little bit lackluster, just because it's so convenient. And I can only imagine the uproar if Game Freak actually announced DLC for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and once again made it cost $5. Some people are very traditional in the way that they think and think that the game should just come totally as packaged, nothing should be added on a bit later on in the game's life cycle, and people would think they were being priced out. But $5 for extra content really isn't too much in the grand scheme of things. Of course, some people might not be able to afford it, especially for those of you that are in school. Every penny counts. I totally understand that, but I think Game Freak would absolutely do a fantastic job with their pricing for DLC if they were to release DLC. If you guys are wondering what I want in terms of DLC for these games, I'll reiterate, as I've already said it a couple of times now, but I would definitely love if the Battle Frontier was reintroduced, if it was given a 3D makeover, maybe give it some extra polish. I'm not 100%. I'm not on Game Freak's creative team. What they do with that isn't up to me, but I would definitely love to see the Battle Frontier reintroduced. The hint is most definitely there. An NPC says, "Oh, coming soon, the brand new Battle Frontier," and this hints at either one of two things: downloadable content or Pokemon Delta Emerald coming around with the Battle Frontier. Now, I honestly don't think there ever will be a Pokemon Delta Emerald. Would I like it? Sure, why not? But I definitely think downloadable content is the most realistic thing out of them two options, along with the Battle Frontier, because I I don't think that in itself is actually worth $5–10. More Mega Evolutions would be absolutely fantastic. There was a lot of speculation going around. There's 3 meteorites in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and of course meteorites are said to, I don't know, somehow turn into Mega Stones or something like that. I'm not too familiar with the lore around that. I think that's a little bit unrealistic, but I would definitely love more Mega Evolutions to be added alongside the Battle Frontier to really make this hypothetical downloadable content package worth it. I would definitely love to see Mega Milotic and Mega Flygon. Those are 2 Pokemon that really should have received Mega Evolutions. They're 2 fan favorites, and it just makes more sense to me that they'd use them 2 Pokemon to, I don't know, make you more attracted to the DLC that they are hypothetically, in this scenario, going to be revealing. But the question you guys are probably asking is whether or not I think Game Freak will actually release DLC for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And you guys are probably wondering my thoughts on that very important question. It's all fine and dandy speculating on what could be in a hypothetical DLC package, but is it actually realistic? I for one definitely think it's realistic. Pokemon is probably Nintendo's most popular game. That's open to debate, and Nintendo have been very open to offering DLC for their games. As I've said, DLC has came to Super Smash Bros, it's came to Hyrule Warriors, it's came to Mario Kart 8 with new characters, new racetracks, stuff like that. And Pokemon being Game Freak and Nintendo's biggest cash cow, you'd think Nintendo would take advantage of that. Sure, it might come at the risk of alienating some of Pokemon's core fans, particularly their younger audience. But honestly, if you look at this rationally, DLC could be a very good thing for Pokemon. DLC has received a bad rap in recent years. A lot of shady companies have taken advantage of the model and featured a lot of microtransactions, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. Nintendo have a very good reputation with their DLC thus far, and I don't see no reason why they wouldn't continue that. They know what their customers want, and I myself think Nintendo would do a very good job when it comes to the pricing of a DLC package for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The writing's on the wall, there's hints from NPCs, there's items that currently have no use in the games. All we can really do is wait and find out. Do I think there'll be DLC for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? Honest answer, unfortunately I don't think so. I think if I was going to give percentages on the likelihood, I'd say DLC not appearing would be around 75%. I wouldn't be surprised if by this time in October that we haven't received any DLC, but the writing is definitely on the wall. And guys, don't think DLC is a bad thing. I know it's received a lot of bad press recently, but DLC done right can really increase the lifespan of a game, and I myself think you definitely get $5 worth of content in terms of playtime from the Battle Frontier. The Battle Frontier has endless potential when it comes to playing hours. That's just my 2 cents about DLC when it comes to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I've wanted to make a video about this for a little while now. I honestly have a lot of thoughts when it comes to the possibility of DLC appearing for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I hope you guys have enjoyed my little ramble on the possibility, I guess. I know this is a sensitive topic with a lot of very strong opinions, but it's just something that's pretty fun to talk about, and I know you guys enjoy my speculation videos. 600 likes would be really appreciated, and I'll upload a video on my thoughts on the possibility of there being Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes as soon as humanly possible, and feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any more of my future Pokemon videos. Leave me a comment telling me your thoughts. I am really interested, and I might not be able to reply tonight as I'm going to be a bit busy, but I will get around to replying to a lot of you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.